Oh, that is a long story, Steve. I started originally, I think the story goes, I started when I was wrestling in Japan, and a lot of the sponsors would take you out to eat after the shows. And oftentimes, you'd sit there for 2 or 3 hours, didn't speak a lot of the language at the time. And at the same time as well, I wanted to show a little bit of respect for the people who are good enough to take you out and pay for your food. So I took a pack of cards, learned a couple of basic tricks, and it just sort of went from there. It started doing something I did in Japan, and then a little bit when I came back to the States in the locker rooms and stuff. Once I started working with WWE, every week I was on the road, I'd take a different trick and show it to a few people, Scott Armstrong and a few other people who love to see it. And so it's just sort of gone from there, to be honest with you. But when I was working for WWE, I didn't really have the time and or the motivation per se to actually put it all together and do a show. Everyone was always saying, you should do a show, you should do a show. And I didn't really know how to do it exactly. And unfortunately, it took the passing of Jay Briscoe, who was actually an integral part of the show, not just the inspiration for me to put the show together, but actually the show itself. It begins with a video of me doing a magic trick for Jay way back in 2013, 2014. And so that inspiration, his passing kind of made me realize, it happens often, doesn't it, Steve? Someone you're close to passes away, and you do realize you're not guaranteed tomorrow. And this is something that if you're going to do, you may as well do it now. So when I was let go from WWE, I had a little bit more free time, as you can imagine, and put pen to paper, as you will, took out the deck of cards, took out a lot of the other tricks I've been working on, and really went on some deep dives as well, watching a lot of the people who inspired me, the Darren Browns of the world, and sort of came up with a 90-minute show that not just a magic show in and of itself, but it's an homage to professional wrestling. As I said, it was inspired by Jay Briscoe, his love of magic and his love of professional wrestling. It sort of ties it together and connects all of us, who have this, what I like to call this proud, guilty pleasure that we call professional wrestling.
That is true. Very true. It is. I'm very proud, but yet there is a guilty pleasure involved with it. But the fact that you were inspired, unfortunately, by the passing of Jay Briscoe is something I think a lot of fans would like to hear more about. Because what was your relationship like with Jay? Because to the world, it seemed like, he's this wrestler, you see his character, but those stories that since his passing have come out more and more and more. What a loving person.
Yeah, very much so. Anything about Jay Briscoe behind the scenes, he was a family man. He cared deeply, not only about the family, but the business and all of his friends that he made in the business as well. We'd sort of lost touch since I left Ring of Honor. And he, like many people in the wrestling business, you don't see him for many years, but the second you see him in a locker room again, it's like no time has passed and you carry on exactly where you left off, So it was really one of those situations where, if you think of Jay Briscoe, the Jay Briscoe you see in the ring, to all intents and purposes, is the same Jay Briscoe you see outside of it, just not turned up to 10, you know what I mean? He was a man who was passionate. Ultimately, he was very passionate and so full of life. And so when you see someone like that and in a blink of an eye, boom, they're gone. It just reminds you, as I said, not one of us is guaranteed tomorrow. And so it was that nature that really sort of inspired me.